Tsipras is again in Brussels today. What can we expect from him at this point?
Well, he actually goes to Strasbourg, to the parliament there, to give a speech. And what we're expecting is to hear is whether or not he's digested the severity, the seriousness of the situation. Coming out of that meeting, very few of the prime ministers, presidents were optimistic. Angela Merkel, the German chancellor, she seemed to really try to understand and underscore the severity of the situation, hinting that she was uncertain whether or not Greece would submit proposals that would satisfy her demands.
You don't see me as somebody who is optimistic today. I'm just briefing you on the meeting of the Eurozone Council members at level of heads of state and government that was a very serious one. And I also tell you that we will meet again on Sunday, first in the format you have seen today, and then later on in a format of 28. So I think that this announcement in itself already shows the situation is fairly serious.
Now, Ryan, there's a great deal of disappointment among both finance ministers and leaders that Greece didn't arrive with specific proposals, nothing that they could run through computers, put into spreadsheets, and just see whether or not they would meet any of their targets. So there was a lot of pessimism. On the optimistic side, this new finance minister did receive some decent reviews. People feel like he's someone they can work with. Essentially, what we have coming out of this is a timeline. And here's what the timeline looks like. Sometime today, they have to actually submit formally the request to the ESM, the European Stability Mechanism. Then in 2 days, on Friday, Greece must submit their actual proposals, what they are going to do. Then on the 11th, we'll have a Eurogroup meeting here in Brussels, discuss the new program. And then on the 12th, that's the Sunday, we'll have EU leaders. First, the 19 leaders will meet, followed by the 28 leaders. Now, Donald Tusk, he, of course, is the council president. He said that he was concerned about what would happen on that Sunday meeting if they didn't get a deal, and he was suggesting that that would mean humanitarian aid.
The situation is really critical, and unfortunately we can't exclude this black scenario. I mean, no agreement until Sunday. And it means, of course, that we need to discuss also the consequences for the whole European Union, not only for the Eurozone.
Now, Prime Minister Rutte of the Netherlands, he was also quite pessimistic. In fact, most of them were. A colleague of mine who was standing out there watching all of the prime ministers and presidents leave, he said pretty much all of them had frowns on their face. All of them looked down, with one exception. Angela Merkel, she seemed to be the one that was only a little cheery. Guys?
I want to get over to Guy in Athens. Guy, what's this mean for the banks?
Well, Mr. Draghi was at the meeting, and apparently he briefed that the Greek banks probably have until the end of the week, and after that some sort of action is probably going to be needed. We find ourselves in a very difficult situation here in Athens. Cash is piling up in certain parts of the economy. Supermarkets, for instance, need to make deposits. Other parts of the economy are being starved of cash. We still have the €60 limit in place. They're running out of money very, very quickly. And Mario Draghi was making that clear. That may be why we have the Sunday deadline. The banks are going to be absolutely front and centre in this whole story. The economy is flat on its back. Without a functioning monetary system, there's not much that can be done here in Greece at this stage. It's interesting to listen to the language, interesting to listen to Hans talking about the frowns and the disappointment that came out of this meeting. You've got to remember that on Sunday, Mr. Tsipras really felt that he was on the front foot, that he was really in charge of this situation. He had a mandate from the Greek people to take to Brussels. That has turned out maybe not to be the case. He's certainly not giving the impression at this stage that things are going to change. Take a listen.
The talks were held in a positive atmosphere. The procedure is going to be fast, very fast, and will start in the next few hours with the aim of concluding at the end of the week at the latest.
But there's nothing of substance there, is there? There's nothing that indicates to the Greek people that actually Mr. Tsipras is going to change course. And he's certainly not preparing the Greek people for that move. He fought very hard for that no vote. To suddenly turn round and accept all of the Greek creditors' proposals, I think will be very difficult politically here in Athens. Here in Athens, he's on the front foot. In Brussels and Strasbourg, maybe not so. And that really, I think, highlights the problems that we face here. The Greek government feels like it's in charge of the situation. Ultimately, though, it's going to find it very difficult to deal with the creditors. Guys, back to you.